Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. The perfect fermenter. What is the perfect fermenter? That is a huge question. Having a nice Schwash beer or dark lager from Coppertail, excellent beer. Low ABV, just a great beer. Don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing. Yeah, what is the perfect fermenter? Before we jump into the perfect fermenter, yep, it's another book giveaway. The Ultimate Guide to Home Brewing, Techniques and Recipes to Get Brewing Today. Really cool book. It's got some good information and it's got lots of recipes, of course. You know how this works. All you gotta do is say the keyword towards the end of the video. Let me step you back a little bit. Maybe this will help make a lot more sense. This probably looks very familiar to most people. Nice 6-gallon Italian glass fermenter with cap and bubbler, or bung and bubbler based on yours. So when I first started brewing, I had one 1-gallon glass carboy. That was it. I turned around and I said, you know what? I want to do a lot of different beers. I want to try, I want to experiment, I want to have all kinds of fun. And I'm very passionate about beer brewing. I love home brewing. It's something I enjoy a great deal. So I went and I got a total of 12 1-gallon glass carboys, some bungs, some little bubblers, rock on, you know what I mean? Then when I stepped up to 5 gallons, to me, it meant the same thing. I got these on Craigslist. I got 4 glass carboys from someone who was getting out of wine making, and it worked perfect for me. I have 3 plastic carboys like this. Yeah, so I have a lot of carboys. And over the years, I've come to the conclusion I don't like anything that has that small top. The reason being is it's about impossible to get it cleaned perfectly. I buy crazy things like this, you know. I make things like this, and it still doesn't get it perfectly clean, and it's kind of frustrating. So I started looking around and I started going to other carboys. I went to Big Mouth Bubbler. It has a spigot, 6 gallons, works great. I went to Fermzilla, all-rounder, does pressure fermentation and non-pressure, and I can get my hand in it like the big bubbler and clean it. And then, as you know, Anvil sent me the Crucible, which is a conical fermenter. So the question isn't really what's the world's best fermenter, but what's the best fermenter for you? And yes, even 1 gallons. I went into the Big Mouth. It's very simple. The reason I decided I didn't want small openings anymore wasn't because of accessories like this. This is fine if it cleaned everything, but it doesn't really hit all the nooks and crannies, which frustrates me. Let me explain why the fermenter is so incredibly important. I spent 7 hours today brewing. I don't know about you, but when I brew beer, it's an all-day process to me. It's something I spend my whole day doing. And you're going, whole day? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it took 7 hours today. And you're like, what? And I don't know where all the time went, but let me explain a little bit. Okay, I do a mash, that's 90 minutes. I do a boil, that's 90 minutes. So now we're at 3 hours. We're not counting heat up times. That's probably gonna bring it up to another, let's say at least 3.5, if not 4 hours, but 3.5 to be safe. 4 hours if you're on 110 volt. And then I'm cleaning. I'm putting my alkaline for at least 20 minutes, running it through the whole system, scrubbing everything down, spraying things off, scrubbing, spraying things down, hosing things off. And then I go to my acid, that's another 20 minutes. And then I'm spending probably another 20 minutes just rinsing things off, drying some things off, letting the water drip, things like that. So yeah, I spend an entire day brewing. The last thing I wanna do is put my beer that I've worked so hard to make and enjoyed making into something that's not going to do a good job. It's going to get contaminated, it's going to break, it's going to crack. And yeah, I love brewing beer, but I don't want to keep brewing the same beer because my fermenter didn't take care of me, or I didn't take care of the fermenter enough to take care of me. So that's why I've gone to anything with a large opening, because I can put my entire hand in there, I can clean everything. Yeah, I got water spots on plastic, but it is what it is. But yeah, I can clean this and I can clean it easily. I don't have to worry about things. I can take things apart and clean them. So for me, a large opening is very important. Now, getting back to the question of what's the perfect fermenter for you, okay? Let's look at these two for one reason. They have a spigot, okay? It's a big mouth bubbler. We'll go on this one right here. This thing, I can easily do 5 to 6 gallon batches. I can do wine, I can do ciders, I can do kombucha. I mean, I can have an endless thing of kombucha going through here and have a huge mother in here. I can do all kinds of cool things with this fermenter. I can clean it easy. It's very simple to clean. So for me, this works great if I'm bottling. That's why I like this. I don't want to use the siphon. I'm trying to get away from the siphon, but this is a great fermenter if you're bottling. If you're not bottling and you're doing 6 gallons, it's still a nice fermenter. Yes, you can do the siphon, you can do whatever you need to do, but this is a great fermenter for someone who is bottling, in my opinion. And everything's an opinion. We'll move that out of the way. Now we step over here to the Conical. This is Anvil's Conical fermenter. This, same thing. I got a spigot. I can do bottling, I can do kegging, I can do whatever I want from the spigot. And yes, you can do kegging from this too. It's not a problem. I kept saying bottling, but this is a great system for people who are bottling. You can use it for kegging too. This is also really good for if I want to get some of the yeast and the trub. I mean, it's all sitting down here at the very base. It's great. The only negative I have on this system is that I can't see my beer, and I like to see my beer. But that's also a pro, but that means that there's no light damaging my beer either. It's being protected from the light. This is super simple to clean. I know plastic, you can wipe it and clean it, and this with the little beveled edges is a little bit more of a pain. The Fermzilla all-rounder is a little easier because it doesn't have any beveled edges, but I don't understand why, but in stainless steel, just lightly wiping it, everything just comes right off. Super simple to clean. It is not a pressure fermenter, but bottling or kegging right from here, capturing your yeast. You've got your bung, your bubbler. You can seal it. I mean, it's got a little rubber piece here, or silicone, whatever you want to call it. And that's it. There are a lot of accessories, but the accessories are for your benefit, such as a system to make it a little easier to transfer your beer to your keg and keep the O2 out, a little better system to connect here to actually get the yeast without it coming out like a giant fire hydrant spigot, and longer legs so you can bring it up above a keg. So this is a great system for bottling and kegging. Now we move on to the third one, the Fermzilla all-rounder. Yes, they make a Conical too. The Conical does not have a spigot though, so keep that in mind. But you can do the yeast capturing at the bottom. So I would not recommend this for someone who's bottling. Reason being is you would have to use your auto siphon, and the only other way is to do some sort of a pressure to push it. It doesn't have to be pressure fermented, but you could put it under pressure and move the liquid that way. This is a great system too because it's affordable. It costs a little bit more than this, unless you buy all the accessories, then it's more than twice this. But this is a great system for doing non-pressure and pressure fermentations. It's simple to open, get in there, clean the whole thing. I'm saying it's simple to open if you have one of these in case it's a little tight, a strap wrench. But this is a great little system for pressure and non-pressure fermentations. And like I said, I would only really recommend that for someone who's doing kegging. Okay, keyword, fermenter, ER. I'll put the spelling down below. Make sure the spelling's correct because that's how I do the search for the keyword so we can pull whoever's comments are, group them all together and let the randomizer grab a winner, and boom, you're getting this. And if you're not in the US, I'll try to get you this. Otherwise, it'll be a Kindle edition. We'll do what we can and get you hooked up. Thank you again. So bottling or kegging works great. I mean, you can put wine and ciders in these too. I like this because I think it's a little bit nicer for doing something like kombucha, but an endless kombucha. This, kegging or bottling. This I really recommend more for kegging. And you're not gonna do pressure fermentation and then try to transfer it to a bottle. It's gonna be a real pain in the neck. So it's really the perfect fermenter is what works for you. And let me step back a third time. You spent, let's say, 4 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours, whatever brewing. Your fermenter matters. Don't try to be cheap and buy the cheapest fermenter possible only to replace it with something nicer 6 months, 8 months, a year, or even just a few months later because you decided, I can't believe I bought that, or yeah, I bought that, but you know what? I really need something better. I need something nicer. You could have saved the money and put it towards something a little nicer. These will eventually break. They're glass. It's nature of the beast. And hopefully it breaks when it's not full. Now, as for your secondary fermentation, hands down, I only have one that I like for my secondary fermentation. Yeah, so a couple of you out there saw this coming. If you're doing secondary fermentations, a keg is perfect, especially if you're kegging, because you simply move your beer to your keg, you have your hops in there or whatever else you want to put in a basket or a mesh or whatever you're putting it in. And then you let it sit for so many days and then you transfer it to another keg off of whatever was in there and you're done. So kegs for secondary, yes, I know some people are doing primaries. This is a little harder to clean. I know it doesn't have the opening, but it is a kind of a decent size opening, but it's still hard to get my hand in. I can't see up in top. I don't like that for a primary. Secondary, yes, it's my favorite go-to for a secondary fermentation. So keep that in mind. Next time you decide to buy a fermenter, and yes, I'll put links to everything below, and not all of them are affiliate, but when you're buying a fermenter, think long-term, think what works for you, think practical, and is it gonna be easy to clean? Don't just think price. I promise you, don't think price. Trust me on that one. Don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing. Definitely appreciate the support. Thank you again, and cheers.